Hey guys, today we're going to be going over conditional statements, so if, else, switch, and we're also going to go over regular expressions. And regular expressions can get pretty complicated, so we're just going to deal with the basics and how we can perform matches and all that. So I'm going to create a new folder inside of my htdocs web server, or web folder, whatever. And I'm going to call this S6. And I'm going to create my index PHP. Okay, let's also move to that in the browser. So localhost /S6. Alright, so conditionals. We went over this in the JavaScript section, and PHP isn't much different. So we'll go through this real quick. So I'm going to open some PHP tags, and I'm going to create a variable of x and set that equal to 5. And we can open up an if statement. So same format as we did in JavaScript. So we're going to say if x is greater than 2, then we will echo out we'll actually echo out, let's do the variable x and then concatenate is greater than 2. Alright, so if we save this and reload, we get 5 is greater than 2. So let's change this, let's change x to 1. If we do that, we get nothing. So we need an else, we need to tack on an else statement. So else copy this, and we'll say is not greater than 2. Alright, so 1 is not greater than 2. So very easy stuff. Let's see, let's get rid of that. Actually, let's leave the x. And let's see, what can we do here? We can use and ors just like we did in JavaScript. So let's say if, I keep doing that. We'll say if x is greater than 2 and x is less than 10. We'll say echo out x, concatenate. So x is greater than 2 and less than 10. So let's change that x to a 4, and we get it because x is both greater than 2 and less than 10. So this is very simple stuff. We can do an else if as well. So let's do that. Let's do if x is equal to 10, then we'll say x is 10. Okay, so then we want to do an else if. Now in JavaScript, for some reason you have to have the else and the if split apart like this. In PHP you don't, and I've always just had it all in one word. So it's just preference. So we'll say else if x is equal to 2, and we will echo out x is 2, and we can keep going if we want until we get the final else, which is just anything but the above. So anything but 10 and 2. So we'll just say echo x is not 10 or 2. Alright, so right now we have x is 4. So if we get a syntax error, unexpected is 2. Oh, we forgot to concatenate here. You see we don't have the dot. On line 7, unexpected parentheses, else if, else, oh, I'm sorry, I put a parentheses after else, and we don't want that. You only want the parentheses if it's an else if. So we get 4 is not 10 or 2. If we change it to 2, if we get 2 is 2, change it to 10, and we get 10 is 10. Alright, so that's else if else, whatever you want to call it. So next we have switches, and switches work pretty much like the ones in JavaScript. Let's do a real quick one here. We'll say x is equal to 3, and then we want to write switch, and what we're checking here is going to be x. Okay, so switch, and then we want some curly braces, and in there we want some cases. So let's say case 2. So this is basically saying if x is 2, then we want to we want to echo x is 2. Okay, and then we have to break, because if it is in fact 2, we don't want to keep going, we need to break out of it. So next we'll do case 3, and we can pretty much just copy this, except we'll say x is 3. Alright, so next, if it's not 2 or 3, then we want a default. And default will say x is not 2 or 3. Alright, so very easy switch statement. We reload, we get 3 is 3. Okay? Because case is 3, so that's what it's doing. It's giving us that. Let's change it to 5. Change it to 5. Whoop. Oh, I'm sorry, I changed the case. I want to change x to 5. So we get 5 is not 2 or 3. Alright, so that's it for conditionals. Let's move on to regular expressions. What a regular expression is usually used for is to match something against something else. And there's a really good website or web page that really gets into regular expressions that I find to be pretty easy, especially if you're a beginner. And that's webcheatsheet.com/php/regularexpressions.php. So it tells us all about the basics, and here are some of this is the match syntax. Say we want to look for the word foo. Now, obviously if we punch in just foo, that's exactly what we're looking for. It's just looking for the string foo. Now if we have this little caret in the front of foo, we want a string that starts with foo, so that means foo has to be in the beginning. If we have a $sign on the end of foo, that means we want foo to be the last word or match in the string. So if we have the caret and the $sign attached to the foo, that means that we want foo when it's standing alone on a string, so it's the beginning and end of the string. Alright, now brackets, if we put ABC into brackets, then we're looking for A, B, or C. If we put A-Z, In brackets, we're looking for any lowercase letter. So anything that's A to Z, that's lowercase. This here, this is going to match any character that is not an uppercase letter. This here will match either GIF or JPEG. And this here, A through Z plus, means that there should be one or more lowercase letters. This expression here is saying that we want any number, dot, or minus sign. This here might look a little intimidating, is looking for any word of at least one letter, number, or underscore. So you can see we're looking for any letter with, we have A to Z in both lowercase and caps, so that's any letter. And then 0 through 9 is any number, and then or lower or underscore. This here, we have the parentheses, and then we have brackets, and we have WX, YZ. So we're looking for either WY, WZ, XY, or XZ. And this here is saying we want any symbol that's not a number or a letter. And not is because we have this caret here. This final expression matches 3 letters or 4 numbers. So we have A to Z, but we only want 3 letters. That's where this 3 is coming from in the curly braces. And then we have 0 through 9, but we want only 4, because you can see 4 is in the curly braces. So these are some, there's a ton of, you can find any kind of expression you want. It's just the more you're narrowing it down, the more of the expression you have to type. And these are Perl compatible. So if you've ever used Perl before in regular expressions, and you'd have no problem with this. And the common function that we use in PHP is preg match. So that's how we can find something in something else. So you can see here, let's actually copy this little piece of code. So we're saying, let's see, actually we need the matches. So we're saying if preg match, and then whatever, we always want to have these forward slashes. Whatever we want to match should be in between these forward slashes. So in this case, we're looking for ELL. Okay, so we're looking for that anywhere. If we had a caret here at the beginning, then this would need to be at the beginning of the string. If we had a $sign, that would need to be the end of the string. Alright, and what we're searching is this hello world. And this matches, this is just a third parameter where we can add this to an array of called matches. So let's just save this and see what happens. So we say match was found, and we're actually echoing it out. We put it in this matches array on the 0 value. So let's see, let's change this up a little. Let's put a caret here. Caret is shift and 6, the number 6 on your keyboard. Now this, we shouldn't have a match. You see, we have nothing because there's no matches. If we take out this E, this HE in the beginning, and I'm sorry, just the H, now we have a string that's beginning with ELL, so we should have a match. Now we have a match. Alright, so if we put the H back, and then let's say we want to search for hello, we'll put HELLO, that's going to come back with a match. Now if I take away the caret and put a $sign, that's not going to give us a match, because what we're looking for is, we're looking for hello to be the last string, or the last word in the string. So if I get rid of this and we make this just hello and save, we should get a match. Now even if I added a caret at the beginning here, we should still get a match because hello is at the beginning and the end of this match or the pattern. So let's look at some other regular expressions. Let's just grab this here, this ABC, and we want to put this in between the forward slashes. Okay, so if we save this, we get no match found, and the reason for that is we don't have an A, a B, or a C in this string. So what if we put HBC? And that should give us a match, which it's not. Oh, I'm sorry. We need to have an uppercase H. So now we get a match. So if I go back and I make that lowercase again, now we can add on a tag. I should be able to put an I at the end here, and that should find a match. And the reason is this I is a tag that's saying in case sensitive. Alright, so we're matching either an uppercase or lowercase HBC. Alright, so let's look at some other ones we have here. This one, which is any lowercase letter. Put that in there. So that gives us a match. Any character that is not an uppercase letter, that'll match. Let's see, any number, dot, or minus sign. Let's throw that in there. And if we save that, that shouldn't be a match. Alright, because it's saying any number, dot, or minus sign. Let's say hello 1. That should give us a match. Alright, so that's as far as I want to go on regular expressions. We won't really be using them in this series, but they're if you want a good foundation in PHP, then knowing at least the basics of regular expressions is going to help.